Welcome to Guilted In. I am
Mom, that's just not even the name of the show. You
into
said
it.
Guilted In. Oh my god.
Because you make me nervous now.
Well, you keep butchering it.
Please.
No, it's in. We're on.
We're on.
Guilted In.
It's too late. I get you. All right. Guilted into it.
Okay.
Here we are. Week 4.
Very bad episode so far.
Very, very poor.
Okay.
But it's going to get better. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Okay.
It's that look. I can't stand that look.
Yep.
It's and you purse those lips. I hate it. Anyway, what's today? The 31st?
Yes.
Right? So that means dry January is finally over.
You weren't doing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm just tired of hearing from everybody else who's doing it. Would you like something to drink? Oh, I'm doing dry January. It's annoying.
Do you feel like you should have done it?
No,
Okay.
not at all. Why would I do that?
Okay. Yeah. Someone at work actually was doing it. And I didn't know she was doing it, which is rare because the people who do dry January are like vegans. Because they just like constantly have to talk about it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You never
exactly.
met a vegan who you didn't know in the first 5 minutes of meeting them that they were vegan.
They were vegan. Yes, that is accurate.
I know.
It's annoying.
Because they have to talk about it.
Or they say something very, like a girl once I heard her say to her friend, "Do you want these mints? I bought them at the Whole Foods, but then I looked and I thought they were vegan, but they're not."
Because
you're
not,
vegan.
But you're not saving the chicken or whatever it is that made the mint. It's done. It's too late.
I know.
Eat the mint.
They're not eating the mint.
I don't know. Should we feel bad about this? Should I feel bad about the amount of chicken I eat?
No,
I don't.
no. I don't
maybe-
feel bad about it at all.
I wish I felt guilty about it, but I don't.
No, no guilt. None at all.
I could never be a vegan.
Oh, God, no. All you eat is beans. You know what that would be like?
First of all, I don't like beans. I don't like anything that's a little hard on the outside and then weird on the inside. Beans, peas. That's it. But they all are the same vibe.
Really?
Yes. They're all, you know.
Yeah, I know. You used to pick them out when you were a kid.
I
used
still
to try
do.
to sneak them in there, and you'd be
I still do. It's
moving 'em all out.
disgusting.
It is, well,
I don't know who
It
would like
is.
that texture, personally.
I don't know. I had something else I wanted to talk about, and
Okay. What,
I can't remember.
what do you mean?
I can't remember.
This is why you have to tell me the topics, because all before this you're like, I got something I specifically didn't tell you because I want your live reaction. How is it so juicy that you now don't know it?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh.
Because I knew when I said about the dry January, you'd be like, you're not even doing it.
Right.
I knew that's what you'd come up with.
So did you do a script and you're seeing if I'm following it?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, worst game ever.
Worst game ever. So let's just quickly talk about my show that I had last weekend.
Oh, yes, the
We
show.
have to talk about it.
Okay,
'Cause
yes.
you saw it now.
I did. I came to the show. It was a show. It happened. No, it was good. You were good. The talent was definitely there. Actually, it reminded me, this is not going to be funny for anyone if they don't know the reference, but you know the SNL skit that they do where they have like the theater kids in like the black box and they just do like crazy little scenes?
Uh-huh.
That's what it kind of was, because you guys were all in black.
We were all in black.
Yeah.
It was sketch comedy for those of you not following along. It was
Yes,
a
the sketch comedy show in the city.
But it was fun,
yeah,
and I met a lot of nice people, and it was a good experience. I never did sketch comedy before.
it was cool. It was definitely cool to watch.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought you were good.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
very
that.
believable.
Thank you. Oh, believable?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
As a homeless war veteran.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know why they cast you in that part, to be honest.
Well, I think it was a little tongue in cheek, but I don't know if the writing quite got that
Yeah.
in there. But whatever.
Good experience,
So,
nonetheless. It was
yes. So, and how are you? How was your week? How was your day? How's it been going for you? Your vibes were a little low today. I was feeling like your vibes were.
good. They were low, but for no reason. I had one of those. All right. I can always tell if I'm gonna have a good day by how my breakfast goes, and I know that's a dumb thing to say, but it's true. Because the other day, yesterday, I was making eggs for myself, and I used the wrong spatula to flip it, and I broke the yolk, and I wanted to kill myself.
Days ruined.
But then
Days ruined.
I know my reaction to that is going to set the tone for the rest of the day. So some days I'm like, whatever, I'll have it, fried egg. But I was mad that the yolk was broken. So
Okay.
that's how I know the day is going to be bad.
So I think this might be a genetic family thing, because when your grandmother was younger and fried an egg and it broke, you would have thought that the entire dozen eggs
Yes.
fell off the counter and crashed onto the floor. And you just hear, "Oh, damn it, son of a bitch!" And she'd take the egg
That's
in the
how I
pan
feel.
and she'd throw it in the pail and start again.
Yeah.
Fast forward to me. I do the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do that.
do the same thing.
Because you know what it was? I thought I successfully flipped it, and then I saw the yolk eking out, and I was like, fuck. I was so mad, like beyond mad.
It's an irrational kind
I
of
recognize
mad.
in the moment that it's unreasonable. I'm like, wow, I'm unreasonably mad about this.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. The rage physically boils inside of me.
So did the breakfast not go well today? Because you were looking like in a mood.
No, it was all right. So I made a breakfast sandwich, and I was on my way out, so I had to wrap it in tinfoil. I opened up, and a lot of the cheese was it was on the tinfoil instead of on my sandwich.
Ruined.
Done.
Ruined.
It's a precarious situation, is
Another
what I'm trying to
easy
say.
way to ruin a meal for Bridget is have any of her food on the plate touch.
Not true. Some of the foods can touch. It's when the sauces intermingle. If I'm at a buffet and there are two things with different sauces and they put it on the plate and the sauces cohabitate, I'm not into that. And yes, that will ruin my whole thing.
So buffets are nightmares for you.
Yes. So anyway,
So anyway,
I want another mystery topic.
when it pops into I remember I was thinking that, and then I can't remember. And I don't know why I didn't write it down. I should have written it down.
Right.
I didn't write it down. Because I was like, I'll remember this.
All right, no, but the other thing you're talking about, are you saving that or something?
Huh?
The other thing you were talking about, are you saving that?
No, I can't remember.
We just spoke about it.
What other thing?
The thing that you said, I deliberately didn't tell you, that thing.
That we spoke about it. The dry
Which
January.
one was it? Wow. The lead-in to that was very bad.
Oh! I do remember. Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
Okay.
I remember now.
It better be good.
I don't know how good it is anymore, but it is food related.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you are a fan of well, your sister loves skirt steak. Do you like skirt steak?
I'm middle of the road on
Middle of
skirt
the road.
steak.
Well, skirt steak, for anybody my age.
Hold on, because if you're about to tell me the prices of the skirt steak, you literally told me this on the phone yesterday. So if you're about to act like this is novel information for me,
I forgot.
I'm going to freak out. Is that what you're about to do? Go ahead, tell everyone how much it was. Oh my God, I could say this with you.
So wait, it used to be the poor man's meat,
I know.
right?
Yes, because you said this yesterday to me.
$3 a pound
Yes.
or something. Say it with
And
me.
now the guy at the butcher was like, yeah, but that's because now they're serving it in restaurants.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
$45 for a pound and a half of skirt steak?
Mom,
That's insanity.
this was the worst topic.
This was the worst thing
This
that
was-
happened to me yesterday. Isn't that good? That's a good thing.
That was like one of Judy's gems. That's a gripe.
You're right. It is a gripe, but I'm not going for a gem.
Let me ask you a question. When
Sorry.
you deliberately, I'm gonna keep the big skirt steak secret from me. What did you think I was gonna have some crazy outrage to it?
I'm
Like
not-
that would be good for the show?
Listen, I don't have a full life anymore.
Okay.
I don't have funny things to talk about. I sit in my house and I try to sell makeup to people. That's my life.
I think I
So
understand now.
I really need you to pick up the slack in this area because you're out there, you're doing stuff.
But I understand now why the retirees always get a bad rap. It's because they'll complain about things like this. And now I'm realizing it's because that was the biggest part of your day.
That
Was how much the skirt steak upset you.
Yes. And that I had to go to 3 stores before I found one that was reasonably priced.
And that's sad.
And it was Lidl.
Okay.
I got my meat at Lidl.
All right. Well, hopefully we have a large retired audience because this will kill. But with anybody younger than that, they've shut this off already. I would have. Absolutely.
All right. So maybe we should go to our commercial?
Let's go to our commercial so we can bring on our guest for the
So we're
love
going
of
to
God.
go to our commercial that's not really a commercial. We're still waiting for the owners of the company to make the commercial, but
Go ahead. Say their full name of their business again.
Intense Events, Glamping and Picnics, coming at you.
God.
I took my love, took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life?
People tell me I'm looking pretty good for somebody. I've only been on chemo for 3 months. You should stop clapping. This can go horribly wrong in my 2 weeks. But I don't like the fact I gained all my weight back for the most part. I grew my head was shaved. I grew my hair back. And I look okay, but like I'm losing my cancer perks. Like I went to dinner with my friend the other night, and I'm like, can I leave a tip? He was like, yeah, you can leave the tip. I'm like... I'm like, you know I'm still pretty sick, right?
And yes, Mr. John Ziegler.
Here he is.
Welcome to Guilted Into It.
Is this it?
This is it.
That was my intro?
That's
I know, well, that was the worst.
That wasn't. It got a little jumbled up because I was just going to talk about you first, then play the clip. But we got a little jumbled up, so that was your intro.
Here he is.
Here he is.
Headliner, comedian.
Headliner.
Extraordinaire. John
First
Ziegler.
special.
This is weird sitting between the two of you right now.
Do you
I feel
want
like
me-
I feel like I'm in like mother-daughter therapy session right
it
now.
Well, it could turn into
It's the
that.
vibe
You
It's
never know.
feeling very much like
Yes. And how does that make you feel?
Bridget. Tell Rosanne how you feel. Like that's what it's feeling like
We
right
actually
now.
brought you here to mediate.
That's
We did,
exactly what
actually,
I feel like. I
because-
used to be a counselor before I was a counselor.
Did you really?
Yeah, 6 years.
What
You
kind of
haven't
counselor?
done it, really? You haven't done it all.
Drug and alcohol abuse. I worked in a rehab in Rochester, New York for 5.5 years.
Wow.
So
Wow, so you know the...
after the podcast, I'll fix you guys. It'll
yeah,
be good.
yeah,
Don't
that's
worry about it.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you about that. I don't want to be rehabbed.
He heard the dry January thing. He's like, you're a client.
So how? First of all, welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you. You were on my first show that I ever did, way back when, pre-pandemic. Brace yourself. You were on,
Yeah, way pre-pandemic, yeah.
and it wasn't this fancy studio. It was in my house.
I don't think my mic worked either.
I don't think so. And our
No.
chairs were crammed together because I only had a small screen. But so thank you for coming on again. We appreciate it. And you just did a special, getting
Yeah, a little over a year ago.
getting my affairs in order.
Yeah.
Right?
That's pretty much dried up now. It gets a big
Special's
push
done.
when it first comes out. Now I
Yeah.
get, I
Well-
still get views. I get a couple of hundred views a month, but it's really slow to a crawl.
All right. Well,
Anybody
but
watching,
if you want to
get
see
me back
it,
in the algorithm, please.
Yeah, really.
absolutely.
Where
Get
can they watch
them
it?
back in there.
It's on YouTube for free. It's just John Ziegler, Getting My Affairs in Order. I have a YouTube channel. It's got about 100,000 views, which
Okay.
is...
Oh,
great.
that's good.
It's not. It sounds like a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, I know.
The internet's a
This is
weird
going
thing.
well.
You hear...
Well, I mean, now it's like any people preteens
I need like
have 100,000 followers. on
5
Instagram.
million views for it to make any difference. Like 100,000 is like, it looks nice when I go to my page because
Yeah,
I have
right.
I have commas,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
which is good.
That
It's in the
is
six
good.
figures now.
But it really doesn't. It was nice. It was flattering. I got a lot of positive feedback on it, but it doesn't change much.
But so what has changed though since making that? Has anything in your career changed since making that special? Do you feel?
I don't think the special had much to do with it. It gives me a little exposure because I got to do some cool podcasts and I got my specials out there. So I got some work out of it, but it didn't really change my career. But I got random work. Like people would just find me on the internet and call me. and I'm on the list that I didn't know I was on. Some guy called me the other day to do like some temple gig, and he's like, "You're top 10 funniest comedians in," and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know
Yeah.
what list am I on?
Some like BuzzFeed list.
Yeah,
or
something that I'm
like,
unaware of. So
There's a lot of lists out there. At least you're on the good lists.
I guess, yeah. If I get work, it's a good list.
Yeah,
People-
did you self-produced it or who produced it?
I self-produced it. Well, when I did it, I didn't think I had a lot of time, to be honest. I was
Yeah.
pretty sick at the time. So I called a friend of mine, my friend Pete, I went to high school with.
Okay.
And that's what he does. He owns a huge production company. And I was just looking for advice because I didn't have, you can spend $30,000, $40,000 to produce a special. I didn't have that.
Right.
I was looking to do this on the cheap. Governor's Comedy Club was really helpful because I have a relationship to them. They're like, shoot it here. And my friend Pete talked to his team, and he's like, we're going to shoot it for you. So he did it pretty much for free.
Wow.
Huge favor.
Is there a reason you didn't do it like before this at any point in your career, I guess?
Yeah, I did an album, comedy
God.
CD.
Wow.
That was not long ago. That's how quick the technology moves. It was
Yeah.
like 8 years ago. I did a comedy album, a 1-hour album. And I thought that was a big deal. And I sold those for about a year until nobody had to use for
Yeah.
a CD.
Yeah, nobody
like
was-
I just became like antiquated. I'm like, what am I gonna do with these things? So I started giving them out after shows.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, please come to my website, like it was anything. And then I've talked about doing the special, but it's like anything else in life. You're like, I'm gonna shoot that. A month
Yeah.
becomes 6 months, becomes a year. But when you're sick, you get really motivated when you have 3 months to live.
Right.
You're gonna do everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna write a screenplay, and you're gonna do all this shit because your time is now tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah.
So that was the sense of urgency. I really just wanted to leave. It wasn't even for success, obviously. I thought I was
Right.
dying, so I'm just kind of like, I just want to do it so I have a legacy to leave behind.
So no, but so when you're like in that moment, yes, you say you're like super motivated, but then when you're out of the woods, so to speak,
Your
right?
motivation.
Does it go away
Yeah, it's
immediately?
yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
are you back? Like,
The
all
health
right.
view you get, you're like, I got to do laundry. Like Monday, I got enough underwear to last me 2
right.
more days. Like, yeah, you do get, and I have to reset myself because I don't really work in the daytime. I have a lot of free time.
Right.
And there's days I will never allow myself to just binge watch like a Netflix show for 6 hours in a day. I will
Okay.
not allow it.
Yeah.
I'll go to the gym. I'll write. I do some private writing sessions with people. I'll do that in a day. I have to do something every day to make me feel productive, even if it's one thing.
How much
Yeah.
how much time do you devote to writing every day?
I'm writing when I'm not writing. Like I'm thinking comedy from the second my eyes open till the minute my head hits the pillow. I'm trying to. Oh, is that? It's like Jerry Seinfeld always says. Is that something?
Yes.
Is that
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I'm always doing that, and I just make notes because we were talking off air how I'm so bad with technology that I don't even know. Like I have to have a pad and like a pen with me
Wow.
to write ideas down. So I've learned how to. I send myself premises, like ideas I get. I send them to myself in Facebook Messenger.
You know,
That's how I do it.
There's a
there's a
notes app.
notes
Yeah, I
app
tried
on your
it.
phone.
I tried it. It went.
Facebook
Yeah.
Messenger yourself.
I Facebook Messenger myself.
And then you get the notification, you're like, oh, who's this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
oh,
I
it's
take.
me.
It comes up.
And the funny thing is, I write it like an abbreviated shorthand, so I can't tell you how many days I go back and they're like a week
Oh,
later.
yeah.
And it's just like choppy words with. I do these. What do they call them with the dots? Ellipses.
Yeah. Ellipsis.
I
yeah.
I overuse those.
Yeah.
So I'll be like chicken dot 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 gravy dot dot dot.
Yeah,
And
right.
I read it 3 days later. I'm like, I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah, because in the moment you're like, I'll remember that.
Yes.
How could I forget this great idea? And then it's gone like seconds later.
Yes.
As I just witnessed, as I sat over there
As
and
you
watched you
witnessed.
be like, I had great things to
Right.
talk
I
about today.
did, and that happens to me all the time, and I'm not as good as stopping and writing it down. I'm like, all right, as soon as I stop driving, I'll write it down. You know, I should just like hit voice record and record what I need to say because
I lose it so quickly now. Like I can, oh, this is a great idea. I got to get this. If I don't write it within 30 seconds or keep repeating it in my head like a mantra, by the time I get to, it'll be that's so quick I can lose it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
that's
Yes.
it's getting scary.
You know, I feel the same way. I guess I don't know because like I'll have a good idea. All my good ideas happen to me like when I'm in the shower or I'm driving. Like
Yes.
times I can't be doing like writing it down. So then yeah, if I'm not saying it over and over and over until I get to the paper, it's done. You're not gonna. Get
I've
it.
called my wife when I'm in the car.
I'd be like, write this down.
Yeah. And I've told her, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, she's at work, like doing 18 different things.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, get a pen.
How many times does that actually translate to a joke that you like use though?
I'd say 10%.
A lot. Okay, yeah.
10% is, I think 90% is a pretty reasonable failure rate
Okay,
for
yeah.
comics.
Yeah, true.
I'm hard. I'm a comedy snob. So like when I say 10%, that's like 10% that I consider like part of my act really good.
Yes, yeah.
If it ain't something that's going to be a regular part of my act, I don't care about it.
Yeah, I feel like kind of the
I'm not
same.
looking for quantity. I'm looking for quality.
Yeah.
How long do you work on something before you say, okay, this is ready to go? Or do you have something that you feel really confident about that you want it to be a part of your act and you'll try it and then rework it and try it and rework it? Or will you just work it before you actually perform it?
I usually go to a mic and at least try to work it at least twice before I'll do it on like, look, if somebody's paying me $1,000 to do a show, I'm not going to go up there and
Right.
be like, I got these great, because they're all killer when I wrote them.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Like you walk up in front of 800 people and you're like, sounded a lot funnier.
Yeah.
I can't workshop when people are paying me money. It's unprofessional.
Oh, yeah, no.
So I go to mics and I do them twice, but I can get a pretty good feel after 2 times if I have at least some meat on it. It's not finished, but I have enough of a structure that I could, on a real show, kind of sandwich it in between 2 good bits.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't go well, it's not so noticeable. And I've been doing this long enough. I know how to sell it and get around it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? It's you develop that skill that even if it doesn't go well, the audience, it will be seamless to them.
Yeah.
Because when I first met you, you talked to me about the evil necessity of open mics.
They are.
And
I hate them. They're no good. People ask me, I'm looking right at the camera. If people want to know where the good open mics are, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. You go to
There's just
anyone.
some that are better than others.
Yes, yeah.
That's it. They're
Yeah.
all terrible. We know what it is. But I've been doing this 16 years. I work pretty steadily, and I still go to open mics.
Yeah.
When I see new comics in like, 8 months in, and like I hate open mics, I go, well, where else are you going to get up?
Right.
You don't have a choice. It's either open mics or you can't do this twice a month and think you're going to improve.
right.
You have to get up.
Yeah.
Even if it's just holding a microphone and talking in front of people.
What do you get out of the open? Because we talk, okay, a lot of the times the audience is comedians, so they're sitting there, they're on their phone, or they're making notes,
Yeah,
and
they
you're
don't
not
care.
getting a
They're
lot
not
of.
listening.
So what do you get out of it? Is it just you hearing yourself say the joke?
For me, I always tell people, if you're going to do open mics, they're terrible. It's painful to go there. I'm with people that, some of them are my friends, a lot of them aren't. I'm usually in a bar, that's kind of a dive.
Yep.
On like a Tuesday in the winter, and I'm like, oh, why am I here? The food is usually garbage. You
Yeah,
know what
right.
I mean?
Or if they have food.
If there's even food.
Yeah, it's like some kind of, Elio's pizza.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
pay $12
Bagel
for.
They
bites.
microwaved it in the
It's
back.
terrible. So I don't really want to be there. But if I'm going to do it, at least I'm going to get something out of it. So I always go with a purpose. I write my set list out. I'm only doing things I'm working on. For me to go there and been like doing my act
Right.
is just silly. What
Yeah, I
is the
agree with
point of
that.
this? So I go there with stuff I want to work on, and I have some format of it, so I'm not just babbling. And just saying it out loud, for me, works. Everybody learns different. So there are people who are audible, people have to write it, some people do it on stage. However, whatever works for you, but you have to have some kind of process.
Yeah.
For me, saying it out loud once or twice gives me confidence. Because I can tell when I say it if it sounds really clunky or just off, or it didn't sound like it did in my head. Because everything in my head is funny.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
wow.
And
I'm
then
hilarious to myself.
I'm halfway through sometimes my premise, like my setups, and I'm like, ooh, this is bad. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Well, I hate when you like do it for the first time in front of a crowd and then they don't laugh at the part that you thought they would, but then maybe they do laugh at something else that you're like, that's not the funny part. You know what I mean? I feel like you never.
I take mics into consideration because it's almost usually all comics. Every now and then you catch a mic that has audience. And that's what I mean by the
Right.
better ones. There are some that are okay. The people are nice. The room itself is set up
Yeah.
for comedy. So some of them are not terrible and they have a purpose. I like here they do one it's music and comedy, which
Yeah,
I
on
like
Fridays.
because it's not all comics. So I have audience from the musicians who are interested.
Right.
So there's actually people, and everybody's respectful. And this is set up. This is it's very conducive to do comedy,
Yes.
as opposed to a bar with the TVs on and no heat.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in
exactly.
some horrible open mics.
Of course. Yeah.
But they're necessary evil. Like if you want to get good, unless you have an abundance of stage time, that you don't need to go. But how many people have that?
yeah. No.
I mean,
Yeah,
not me.
there's not a lot that have
Yeah,
this
no.
abundance
I
of
do-
stage time. And even then, you do need rooms that you can experiment in. So I think they're useful. That's my advice. If I see new comics who are like, I don't want to do them, I go, so you're not going to do comedy.
Right.
Because what are you going to do? Wait till you get a show, like a book show that somebody asked you to bring 6 people to. You're going to do that once a month.
Yeah.
So every 4 months, you're going to do 5 shows over the course of 4 months. You're not going to get any better. If it depends what you want out of this. Like some people want this to be a career. For some people, it's just a hobby. Depends what you want. But if you want to do comedy, you got to get up.
Yeah.
That's it.
And now you told us before that you suffered in the beginning. You didn't do it initially. You always wanted to do it.
I was terrified of doing this.
And what made you get up on that open mic then that day and just say?
Because I hated the fact that I allowed my fears to keep me from doing it. It's a bad feeling at 40. Like I had a business that was pretty, for me, successful. I'm like, this is it. This is what I do. And I hated the fact that I think regret's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
For me to think of myself being like 70 years old and looking back on my life, and even if I had, I got a 401k, but I didn't do anything I wanted.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, too late now. So I needed to do it for myself, just to say, I didn't plan on this becoming a career. I thought I was going to do it a couple of times and get it out of my system. And from day one, the first day I walked in the Governor's, my first mic was the Governor's. It's like a bringer show. You bring like 6 people for stage time, but there's a real audience. There's like 200 people there sometimes. And it was like crack to me.
Did you do well at that?
For a brand new person, I mean, we all, what we think is well.
Well, yeah, Ben, I would love to like watch that back and be like, oh, you do?
I can't watch. They're all on I have like 7 or 8 of my early shows. I took John Truson's comedy class at Governor's.
Yes, I have
my
those too.
grad show from 2008. So 16 years ago. And I haven't watched it since because I don't have a DVD player.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You can't watch it anywhere.
Now I know you technologically are not real good, but you can take those DVDs and bring them to a place, and they will make them digital for you.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do it. I want to watch them.
You should.
Even my clothes.
Oh God, yeah.
Like I have some still pictures
Oh,
from it.
yeah.
I had on one of them. I have on the carpenter pants. They have like the loop where you put a hammer.
Oh, my. Yeah.
That was, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. It's like, why do I have a hammer loop on my jeans? That's weird.
Do you guys, because do guys think about what they're wearing on stage as much? Like, I feel like every time I have to go to a show, I really think about, like, what I'm going to wear. And it's annoying, because then you see, like, half of the, like, guys.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people do.
Like, what's your criteria?
Nothing distracting.
Yeah.
Like I don't wear, like I wouldn't wear something like this
Like
on
with
stage.
words on it?
Yeah, because people want to know then what they want to read. It's distracting to them.
Yeah.
Plus they judge you. People be like, oh, this guy's a Beatles fan.
Yeah.
And by the way, I bought this at Kohl's the other day because I thought it was going to, I'm self-conscious of my age. I'm feeling old all of a sudden. So I turned 56 and I've had, rough couple of years and shit. So I'm like, I'm feeling old. And I'm like, I'm going to get this thing with a band on it.
An old band?
Yeah, a band that
old
broke up in
band.
1972. This really,
Yeah, that's going to make you younger.
this really turned back the clock.
Yeah. People are like, oh no, this guy's not old.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
It was down between this and the Joni Mitchell. I wasn't sure who to go with. Like,
No, this was better.
That was a better choice,
Coming
definitely.
from
No, but,
my age bracket. That makes
I
more
don't
sense.
wear T-shirts. Like as a comic goes, it sounds arrogant to say, but especially before I was sick, I was pretty fit.
Yeah.
Got some guns on me. I would never wear a tight T-shirt on stage
Okay.
because I think it's distracting.
You don't want people to be distracted by
I
your
don't
body.
want the girls going crazy,
Right,
And,
yeah.
and then the guys hating
Yeah.
their wives because the wives are looking at it.
Right, the Beatlemania.
It can start a
happening too,
thing.
for lack of a better- Yeah, fair
You
enough.
know what I mean? I didn't want to go to Matt Rife route.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Because I feel like I always, like, sometimes I go see, like, other, like, female comedians, and I personally don't like, I couldn't wear, like, heels and, like, a dress and, like, whatever on stage. To me, it's not, like, I don't know, it's not, like, comfortable, and to me, like, it is, like, more of, like, almost a distraction. Like, I don't want my outfit to be what
I think
people
you have
are
to be
looking
who you are.
at. Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I have to be real to who you are. I don't like to dress overly dressy on stage, but I also don't like to look. I want to look like I'm at a show, especially
Yeah.
on a weekend. I also consider where am I.
Yeah,
There's
true.
a big difference if I'm I'm handling some bar in Long
Right.
Beach. And, what do I give a crap?
Right.
And then if I'm doing a theater, I often wear a blazer because it's a theater. The clientele's older. Other people are dressed up, and people spend a lot of money to go out. I want them to feel like
Right.
they're out.
Well, it's funny you
what I
say
mean?
that because when I first, started doing comedy wherever anybody would let me get up on a stage, and it was one of the very first times, and I was in the back and I was waiting, and there was a female comedian there, and she was, I don't know who she is or who she was, but she was stoned out of her mind. She looked like she just rolled out of bed. And she's going, I don't even know what I'm going to say out there. And I just thought, I would never do that. People are coming. I don't care if they're paying $15 or $150. People are coming and paying. And you got to treat it like your job. You know, even if it's not
100%.
your job, you've got to treat it that way. Otherwise, I was very turned off by that. And I always wanted to make sure that,
There's
you
also
know.
this misconception. People who first start comedy don't understand how it works. It's like pulling back the curtain on stand-up. A lot of people think, like, I'm funny. I'm going to get up there and riff.
Yeah.
And I go, you know, nobody. They're like, I'm like Robin Williams. I'm like, he wasn't riffing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people think that.
He's doing comedy for 30 years. He
Yeah.
knows what he's saying up there. He's not just going with the flow and
Right.
hoping something funny happens. Like,
Right.
They don't get that. They think you get up and you talk to the crowd and magic happens.
Yes.
And they find out, usually very quickly, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Or
would-
anybody who's like conversationally funny though. Like I could do stand up.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can.
totally different like
It's
muscle.
completely different. Now, if something organic happens with the crowd, that's a gift. That's gold.
Yep.
Sometimes you're doing your act, and then there's somebody there, and something really funny happens, and everybody's in on it because the comedy clubs are intimate. Not so much in theaters because they're big.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like you saw it, but the other 980 people have no idea what's going
Yeah.
on. And I've seen comics do that. They get their first theaters. They're like, so what are you doing? I'm like, stop talking to the front row. The balcony doesn't know what you're doing.
Yes.
We went to see a show at UBS Arena, and it was big comic,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
huge.
And I guess he had like just filmed a special, so he wasn't like doing any of that material. So he was kind of just like doing a ton of crowd work the whole time, but he was only talking to the people in the front row, and we're in the back of an arena, and it was like we were like, this is horrible. Like we
Yeah. I was
you don't know
bored.
what's going
I was
on.
bored. I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
there are guys who are exceptionally good at crowd work. There's certain comics like Rich
Yeah.
Voss or Big J. Okerson and
Yep.
Jessica Curson. Those are people who come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're heavy on crowd, but they know when to get in and out of it. Like,
Yeah,
if
of
it's not
course.
there, they're not like, what do you do? I work in an office. What kind of? It's like 17 questions to get to the funny.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm in and I'm out.
yeah.
So it's a skill set, and people don't understand that. It's
Yeah.
a very specific skill to do crowd work.
It is. Because I don't know. You have to. I feel like really be comfortable about it because like if I'm like I remember like the beginning like I would just try to avoid talking to them at all because then I'm just thinking in my head I'm like okay where was I at in my joke and like trying to like seamlessly get back into it is like is a harder skill than
That's my
people
favorite
think.
thing to do on stage now. That's
Yeah.
when you feel like a growth in you as a stand-up.
Yeah.
When you're doing your act, and I can stop and have a thing going on here, and then go back to what I was doing, and it's fluent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you first start, I call it memorization mode. We're all like, I have 11 jokes. First joke is this one. Second joke is car. Third joke is mom.
Yeah.
Fourth joke is the vacuum.
Yep.
And I just want to do my jokes. Because you're afraid you're going to forget the order, forget the joke. So they're all that. But once you've done it enough times, you can be interrupted at any point. You know,
Yes,
you know
yeah.
what you're doing. You can do it in your sleep.
Right. You could be thinking about other things like while you're like
That's why I tell people the reps, the open mics and getting up is so important. Because you can only do it through repetition.
Right.
You can't do a show every 4 weeks and think you're going to have this down.
right.
You're going to be sitting there reading your notes all night and going through it. If you ever see me at a comedy club, even if I'm headlining and I have to do 45 minutes or an hour, I could be asleep before I have to go on stage. It doesn't take preparation.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm shooting, like I shot my special, there's money involved and there's 3 cameras. Like, I don't want to screw anything up.
Yeah.
So you prep more,
Right.
you know, because I don't want to do crowd work when I'm doing a special. I'm
Yeah.
trying to showcase the jokes I worked really hard on. So I even learned doing that because I never shot a special before.
Right.
It would be much better if I shot one now. 'Cause it's like anything else. You've done it once. You understand what you're doing.
And you have the best, I think, you have some of the best facial expressions when you're doing comedy.
Well, that's just my
Because-
face.
No, I knew you were going to say
Yeah,
that.
it is. It's not like a thing I've practiced. It's
Yeah.
just, it is my face.
But I guess you just put that look in, like when you just did the clip that we saw, and you were like, hey, "Can I leave the tip?" And your friend's like, "Yeah, you can."
Because
leave the
facial
tip."
expressions could be your punchline.
Exactly. Yeah.
They say a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm saying words without saying words.
Exactly.
And I love my favorite jokes are when the audiences can fill in the blank. I don't have to give them the information. I've given them enough information that when I just kind of pause and give a look, they know exactly what I mean.
Right.
They can say it for me. I love those jokes. Excuse me, but the audience has to have enough information. I've seen people try to do that sometimes, and the audience is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't give them, they don't know they can't fill in the blank.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, you've been doing this how long?
16 years,
16 years.
which went really quick, but I don't remember life before stand-up. I don't remember like that I didn't do this. I don't know how I spent between 18 and 40 not doing this. So my story, which is boring, is I did an open mic in about 1989 at Governor's when I was like 20. I did one open mic at Governor's, and then I went to the brokerage the next month and I did one. And then I didn't get up again for about 18 years. I took an 18-year sabbatical.
Why'd you stop? Like, did
The anxiety of it.
Yeah.
I was young. I wasn't a confident person at 20. I cared what everybody thought. I had to kill.
yeah,
You know, I couldn't just go up and be like, that was okay. I had to be like, they're calling me from the Tonight Show.
yeah,
I put this immense pressure on myself. And I remember like doing those mics, I was like 19, 20 years old. And the amount of nervous stomach, like I would eat Jell-O the day of shows.
yeah.
Like I was nauseous. I was like, and I would do the show, and it was like my legs would be numb on stage, and I'd be
Wow.
like all shaky, and I'd do it, and I would do okay, and then you get off stage, and you're like, I need 4 months to recover.
Yeah.
I was mentally exhausted.
Yes.
So I think I did the two, and then I just convinced myself I was a comic. You know those people. You
Yes.
do like two
Yeah.
open mics, you start changing your Facebook name. You,
Yeah,
you got
right.
merch, you got comedy, hats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like that person. I was like, I did comedy. I used to work at Governor's. Like I was that.
Yeah,
I did
right.
2 open mics. And then I didn't do it for 18 years. And, you know, I bounced around. I did other careers. But this haunted me my whole life. Like literally, there wasn't a day that went by where I was like, I could be a comic. And you don't realize how quick time moves.
Yes.
So I was 20 when I did my open mic and then you're 26 and you're back in school. Then you're 30 and you're moving to another state. And you're 36. The next thing you know, I'm 40 and I have a business in Port Washington. And I'm like, well, I guess that dream's over.
Yeah. Right.
That was it. I was like, I'm 40 years old. I haven't done anything. So I'm like, I'll just do a mic and get it over with. Just do it for myself.
Get it out of my system.
And then I did it, and I had no plan because it's not a realistic thing at 40 to be like, I'll sell my profitable business and become an open mic comedian.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what I did. And it's the best decision I ever made. I guess I'm more successful than I ever thought I would be. I never thought I'd be getting paid to do this. But I'm not nearly as successful as I would like to be. Your mindset changes. John Truson, who you guys know John.
Yeah. Of course.
When I first started, I took his class, and he goes, what do you want to do with this? And I said, if I could just be a feature act at the club here and open for somebody like a Nick DiPaolo or Gilbert Gottfried, just all I want to do is open for them. And then like 5 years later, I was featuring, and I'm like, the hell you got to do to headline around this place?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
You just want more.
Yeah, because once you get to that level,
And you realize you
yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I was just like so meek. I used to go to the shows and watch the Thursday, Sunday shows. They let me in for free because I took the class. And I used to sit in the back and watch the shows. And it was like a murderer's row. It was Joe DeVito and Chris Roach and Tim Crumpier and Matt Burke and whoever else was on the show, Kohler. This was a regular Thursday show. And I'd be like, Chris Monty, I'd be like, I can't do this. These guys are so good. And they're all relaxed. And then there was one guy who was pretty bad, a much newer comic. And he was on the Thursday, and I won't say his name, because I remember it.
Yeah, you always remember it.
Because I'm sitting over here.
But he gave me the motivation.
Yeah, you always.
Like
yeah.
I watched him, and I go, I don't know, these guys are so good. And I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can be that person. On
Yeah,
the
so
show.
that guy gave me like a little belief in myself.
Yeah. Well, I had a similar moment, and not because like it was bad, but like it was actually we had like maybe just taken the class, and so we were kind of getting momentum, whatever. And we'd come to your show, you were headlining at Governor's, and Allie Walker was the host, and me and her are like a similar age, like you know. And I was like, wait a second, like she's doing that, like I can do that, like I, you know, because we're the same age, you know. She's like another young female comic, and I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And like I talked to her after, and it's funny because she makes fun of me now because I'm so awkward. Like she's like, oh yeah, come to this mic with me, and I was just like so like, and I'm not like a good like networking like person. I'm good like once I'm more like comfortable with you, but I was just like, you know, a wallflower the whole night, and she makes fun of me for it now, but you know.
I'm the same way, and that helped me and hurt me.
Yeah.
It helped me because I never bothered anybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And they respected that. So I was working with A-listers. I mean, I did 28 shows with Sebastian Maniscalco. I did like 25 shows with
Yeah,
Gilbert
that's crazy.
Gottfried. I was touring with Bobby Collins. I did a bunch of theaters with Jim Brewer. And I'd just be like, thank you so much. And I'd leave.
Right,
I never
yeah.
asked them for anything. I didn't be like, can I have your number if I'm ever, can I?
Right.
I never asked for anything, which I think people respected and liked, and the clubs always respected it. But in the same breath, like, you need those connections.
But they also
Yeah.
saw a guy who came in, did his job, did it well, wanted to do well. Like, I think that
I had a good relationship with all those people I mentioned,
Yeah.
and they were always very nice to me. But they're not going to be the ones calling me.
Right, that's the thing.
But I could have if I had a little bit of assertiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have had auditions for certain things that I had people that were willing to vouch for me and give me referrals, and I was just kind of like, yeah, maybe. My mindset was just get really good at this, and everything will work itself out. Then that's just not true. It is
Right.
to an extent.
right.
Step one should be learn how to do, before you're worrying about managers and how do I get this and how do I travel, like, you got to have an act.
Yeah.
But then I got the act, and I thought of all the opportunities that I never leveraged in any way. I just never asked for anything. And I should have been that part of the game that you talk about. It's
Yeah.
not my personality.
It's me neither. She yells at me all the
I do.
time for it.
You need
because,
to be, there's a fine line between
You-
annoying and assertive.
Yes.
Right. You just have to advocate for yourself. You have to ask sometimes for what you want, and I know that she could do it in a way that would never come across like,
Yeah, it's a fine line.
you know, entitled.
I think it's just like you feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but you never want to be like, oh, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to put them out or make them, you know what I mean? Like,
I was just happy to be at the dance.
yeah,
also.
yeah, you're just happy to be there.
I wasn't thinking ahead. You know, I'm sitting in a green room with, I mean, I haven't seen Sebastian in 6-7 years. But his career was pretty good when I was
Yeah.
with him. It wasn't
Yeah.
this. He wasn't a movie star selling out Madison Square Garden. I mean,
Right.
he's massive right now. But I was catching the wave as he was starting. He was a super nice guy. We got along great. And I remember one night he actually said to me, he goes, you want to work in the city? Like, any clubs you looking to get into? And I was like, yeah. Like, he was basically,
no.
he was
He's like-
basically asking me, can I help you in any way?
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to go get a quesadilla. You need anything?
yeah, right, totally just botched that.
Yeah, and didn't think of, like, 2 years later, I'd just be sitting at home and I'm like, oh, he was asking me. Like, it took about 2 years for it to register.
Right, yeah, right. And you're like,
He's a super
okay,
nice
well,
guy.
yeah, right.
know?
You're like, wow, how nice. He's interested in my hopes and dreams.
I'm so awkward, though. And you know what? I've been on the receiving end of, like, because I've worked some places and I know people. Like, I'm not successful enough. I can't get people into the stress factory. I'm lucky I work there.
Right.
I can't call the owner and be like, look, I got a friend.
Yes,
That
yeah.
doesn't, I'm not at that level. But I have people who, they kind of put me in that, it's a terrible position to be put in.
Yeah,
When people call me like, can you get me into the, and I'm never going to be rude. I'm never going to be like, no,
right, yeah.
don't ever ask me
Right.
that. Then I find myself explaining how the business works. I'm like, how did this become 10 minutes of me explaining why I can't do the favor you asked me for?
Right. What do you? This is maybe unrelated, but it does relate in my mind. I feel like, what do you do? I guess when if someone asks you like, hey, like I want to like book like so and so on a show, like, are they good? And
I've had that a lot.
And you don't think that they're good.
I just play dumb.
Okay, yeah, because it's like you never want to be the.
No, I'm never going to take money out of anybody's
No, of
mouth.
course
I'm
not.
never going to take food out of somebody's mouth or money out of their pockets. Like, if somebody has a chance to get a job, but it's also my reputation.
Right.
You know, if somebody comes to me and asks about a comic that I don't think has 2 minutes of serviceable material, and they're like, I need him to feature. Feature?
Yeah. yeah.
25 minutes? Like, they can't do 2.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be like, no, you can't.
yeah.
I'll just be like, I don't really know them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
just played dumb. You know.
that part of the like the business, I guess, for lack of a better term, is like that's the hard part, is like managing all the like interpersonal stuff. I feel like you always hear about like comedy, like drama. You know what I mean?
There
If
is
you're,
no
like, in
comedy
it.
drama. People create it.
Yeah.
No
Oh yeah,
comedy
of
drama.
course.
Just get good at what you do and stop worrying about what everybody else does. There's
Yeah.
no drama.
Yeah, it's true.
People
Well,
talk about drama, and everybody I hear about talking about drama, I'm like, well, you're not in this business. I'm not in this business.
yeah, yeah,
I'm in the outside of the business looking in.
yeah.
So if I'm not in the business, I'm like, you're definitely not in the business. So like, what drama are you just?
Yeah.
What drama?
I know. Yeah, it's like then
Just
that's
work and get good, and you'll get some work.
Yeah, it's true.
You will. If you, it'll rise. If you have a pretty clean act and you can do comedy and you can do some time, you can do 15 minutes of pretty good comedy that's fairly clean, you're going to get work.
Yeah.
Because there's not 100 people who can do 15 minutes.
And it's very funny
just
because
not.
I remember when we started and we were watching comedians. We came and saw you. We would go into Governor's Lot watching. and these people are going on for 15 minutes. I'm like, wow, that's like, I remember we had to come up with 5 for our graduation show, and I was like, oh my God, 5 ran through it. I was like, that's only 2.5 minutes. Where am I getting another 2.5?
It's like running a marathon if you didn't run. You run a mile and you feel like you're going to throw up and you're all cramped. And like, they run 26? If you run every day, you'll run 26.
Yeah, right. And now if they're like, all right, do 8 minutes, I'm like, all right, let me think about like what, the 8 minutes is, because I haven't,
I can do a 20-minute set. Everybody was like, how much time am I doing? When am I going up? And I'm just like, just let me know. Wake me and let me know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need prep work to do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I still have I'd like to write a set list.
Yeah.
I don't want to be figuring it out as I go. I like to write a set list and be prepared. And if I'm going to do something new, I want to know exactly where I'm putting it.
Yeah.
I make a lot of decisions on stage, though, based on whether the audience likes me or doesn't. Like, I have a lot of jokes about having cancer. I'm not going to do those on every show.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look out and I go, there's a lot of cancer-y looking people out there.
Yeah, right. They're not gonna like.
I'm going to,
I know. I'm having that situation right now because I have a joke about my experience in the nursing home and stuff. So it's very about older people and stuff. And I've had crowds of older people that really think it's funny, but then I've also had crowds of older people who just hate me for it. So it's like
Sometimes that's just figuring out how to massage the joke. I
Yeah.
have a bunch of jokes about my mom.
right. Yes. Yeah. So
My mother had late-stage Alzheimer's. And I wrote a bunch and when I first started doing those jokes, I'd be like, I would say the word Alzheimer's or dementia, and people would be like, I don't ever mention that.
yes, that's true.
Now my mother's just old and forgetful. And
Yes.
the jokes never have pushback.
Yeah.
Never.
Those
They
are
do
some.
that.
I love some. Those are some of your funniest.
Those are my favorite jokes I
Yeah.
wrote. Those are my
Those are
favorite
great.
jokes I wrote. It was the first time I wrote jokes that were really personal like that. And I was talking about a topic that I'm like, can I talk about this? It's the first time I
Yeah.
did that. You get a different connection with the audience. Like if I do a joke about Dunkin' Donuts and people go, hey, I love that Dunkin' Donuts joke. That's great. And
Yeah.
then they leave. When I did stuff on my mom, a lot of people have gone through it. Dealing with Medicare and nursing homes and parents getting old. They come to me after, they want to have drinks with me at the bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a different connection to an audience. And I
Yeah.
loved it. And the same thing with me being sick. I just have to figure out there are still people who still feel bad for me.
Right.
And I don't like the, oh.
Yeah.
I don't want to
you
hear,
the
aw. I'm like, it's fine. I'm good. Let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Right.
got 20 minutes of jokes
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this.
We can't for the all
Yeah,
20
so,
of these
yeah, no.
minutes. It's gonna be brutal.
So,
And can we bring up that you had a big life event, a good life event, recently?
does this be the wedding?
Yes.
All right. I was
It's
like,
good.
what is it?
He's like, oh god.
did
Yeah,
you think?
that was a quiz.
Big life event.
Yes. It was a great wedding.
It looked like a
It
beautiful
was a
wedding.
party. We threw a party.
That's now.
started
how long
off-
have you been with her?
We've known each other like 24 years. But comedy, she lived in another state. I lived in another state. We always, whatever. So I guess you can say 24 years.
Okay.
A long time. But, we were living together in Pennsylvania for 2 years, which we signed the lease, and then I got diagnosed 6 days after I signed the lease. So it was a really tough 2 years because I was back and forth between New York and Pennsylvania. I lived in New York. She basically lived in Pennsylvania. And we back and forth, back and forth. It was rough. It was a rough go. And then I decided I actually to get married. Because,
Yeah.
Why not?
how much time do I have? No, and it was going to be a small wedding. We were going to do a backyard wedding, like 50, 60 people, just close family. And then it just kind of grew. And then I'm like, let's just throw a party. It's a celebration of life, the shit
Yeah.
I've been through. So I invited so many comedians. And then I had to invite comedians that I'm like, well, I need them to have friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, who do they know?
Yep.
So I had like a table of people I know from the open mics. And then I had like the people from Governors that I kind of came up with. I had all of them. And then some newer comics. We had 175 people there, and I'd say about 110 were me.
Wow.
Yeah,
It was
that's
mostly
good.
me.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We stayed away from all traditional stuff. There was no throwing bouquets, cut the cake and theater, no first dance, no wedding party, no speeches.
That's
It was
good. You had too many comics there because everyone would be fighting for time.
Yeah.
It'd probably turn into a
What, I'm
march.
only getting 3 minutes? Come
Only
on.
getting 3.
Yeah.
Lighting people at my wedding.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
No,
right.
I didn't want those maid of honor and best man speeches are painful.
They are a lot of the time.
It's always somebody who doesn't know how to hold a mic. I'm like, put the mic by your mouth. And they're always
Yeah.
like, then there was that time at 7-Eleven, we got
Oh my
drunk,
God,
and we were
yeah.
like, we weren't there. This isn't
Right.
funny. We don't know what you're talking about. I hate it.
Horrible.
So we did nothing traditional. My dessert table was Enterman's. I bought $700 worth of Entenmann's. We had a wedding cake and an ice cream bar from the catering hall, but I went out and bought every type of Entenmann's, like 700. And I overdid it. So I had like 50 boxes left at the end of the night. So favors as people were leaving, I'm like, Bridget, take a crumb cook,
Take a box of
crumb
these
donuts,
mini
take a
chocolate chip
marshmallow cake.
cookies.
I was handing out.
Yeah.
I was handing out Entenmann's at the day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Those little cookies, they're like the
We had a good wedding.
they're like a what's it called? They're like
Chocolate chips?
yeah, they're like the size of like a church wafer.
They're amazing.
Yeah. The Entenmann's
is the
body of
best.
Christ.
Entenmann's was so cool. They sent us. My wife wrote them, and just said, we're looking for a sign. Do you make us like an Entenmann sign? And they sent us like the sign congratulating us, and then sent us cases of Entenmann's.
Oh my, I think you're sponsored by them
sponsored
right now.
by
Or is this an ad?
That's
I'm
great.
sponsored by
Let's
Entenmann's.
cut to the
John
Entenmann's
Ziegler,
ad.
brought to you by Entenmann's.
Yeah, seriously.
It's great.
Wow.
That's actually very funny and a very cool thing to do because everybody knows Entenmann's.
We love it. I grew up in Long
And-
Island. We grew up on
Yeah,
Entenmann's.
yeah, seriously.
just to have that at your wedding is kind of
I
cool.
loved it. It was
That's
great.
very clever.
No, it was a good wedding, and we're living in a 55 plus. We moved back to Long Island, so I'm living in a 55 plus community in Lindenhurst.
Wow.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, everybody goes to bed at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
exactly.
I love it.
Just when you're leaving.
We just wave to each. Somebody talks.
Yeah.
We wave and go in our apartments.
yeah.
Exactly. I don't want to be
Nobody
friends with
wants to be
everybody.
friends.
Do you have a lot of amenities? Is it a nice
No,
place?
there's a clubhouse that nobody's
That no
ever
one's
in.
ever- yeah,
Nobody's
no one goes
ever
in
in it. My mail's in there. I go in there to get the mail.
Yeah.
No amenities. It's just a quiet place. But Lindenhurst is a good town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very happy where I am. I never knew the South Shore at all, so I didn't want to live there.
Yeah.
I'm like a very creature of habit. Anybody who knows me.
I am too.
My wife calls me sometimes because I don't work in the day, and she works a 9 to 5. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I went out. I'm getting an egg sandwich." She's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Stuff a bagel." She's like, "In Bethpage?" Because that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah." She goes, "You drove to Bethpage for an egg sandwich? It's like 30
We're the
minutes."
same. Yep.
I'm like, I like
I
looking
know how
at
they
that.
do
I
it.
like Stewart Avenue. I like looking at my street. I want to look at Wellwood.
yeah. I like
Yeah.
what I know exactly what they're
I
going
know-
to do.
I
You
know
know what you're
exactly.
going to get.
But
Yeah.
you could probably get a great egg sandwich in Lindenhurst.
I do. I used to go to Lindenhurst Bagels.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Italian place there called Joe's. It's like an Italian, and they make egg sandwiches. It's a pricey egg sandwich.
Wow.
Like first time I ordered 2 egg sandwiches, I had a 20 in my hand, and I was like, "Oh, is that a 20? I thought it was a. I'm sorry."
Yeah, yeah, right. You look embarrassed.
I was embarrassed. I'm like, "How much is an egg sandwich?"
Yeah, it's crazy now. It's absolutely crazy.
I know.
Well, we have like 2 minutes left. I wanted to just say.
Like, what is there? Skirt steak in this egg
Yeah,
sandwich?
yeah. That's right.
It's a callback from 50 minutes ago.
That's nice. That's a perfect.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well done.
No, that's okay. I was gonna ask if you had any you wanted to plug. You have anything coming up?
No, my shows are weird now. I'm not doing so many comedy clubs. I miss
Yeah.
comedy clubs so
Well, we're
much.
doing a show
Yeah.
this weekend.
Oh, you're on that show with me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I'm doing Saturday. I'll be at, yes, there you go. Saturday I'll be
Oh,
at
there you
Governor's
go.
in the Giggle Room.
Yeah.
Carla Rokas and Mike Keegan, you, and somebody I don't know. It's another
Yes,
comic.
I don't know.
Every time the show comes up, you're like, it's somebody I don't know. I can't wait to see who this person
Yeah, I
is.
don't know who it is.
And then Valentine's Day, I'm doing, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, I'm doing a restaurant in Bethpage called Me and You, which
Nice.
was with Brian McKenna's featuring and Joe DeVito's headlining it. I've been there like 6 times, so I just host it.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Because they've seen everything.
know all your
Yeah, how
stuff
many
now.
jokes can I write every 2 months? So I go. and
Yeah.
I'm going to do a lot of crowd work because it's Valentine's Day, so I'll just rip on couples.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's good.
And it's food there is excellent. So that's Then I have a bunch of whatever,
cool.
things that I can't, there's no point in promoting, they're all private.
Yeah.
Well, we
You
thank
can't come
you. Can't come. It's a private show.
Private.
to
Not
his
welcome.
private events. Well, thanks for coming on our show.
No, this was
Did
fun.
we have to
Yeah.
guilt you into it at all to get you here, or did you just? I didn't have to guilt you, right? You just said, "Yeah, you
Well,
like
at
that."
least you got the name right this time.
I
so that's
did,
Good.
I
Guilt
did.
you
Yeah,
into it.
yes,
Guilt you
right.
into it.
Barely knows where
No,
she
you
is
did
right now.
not.
Okay,
Everybody
good.
knows I like you too.
Thir-
So when you ask me, I'm like, yeah, whatever you need.
There you go.
Geography is very important to me. And
That's
the
true.
fact
He's
that this
10
is
minutes
10
from
minutes
here.
from me, I was like, where you doing it? You're like, Paradise. I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
I've been there before. I know exactly
I
the
know
layout
exactly.
I'm in.
I know the layout.
No
Man.
surprises. I'll be there.
If you were like, it's a place in Hop Hog, I'm like, ooh, that I can't do that
Yeah,
night.
no.
I'm not driving to Hop Hog.
Absolutely not. No one's driving to Hop Hog.
to sit with you two clowns.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for
Oh,
being
thank
on the
you
show.
guys.
It was great having you here.
Yeah.
We are almost out of time, so I'm going to say, everybody, thank you very much for joining us tonight and tuning in. And you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, and you can hear us on Spotify and iHeartRadio if you just want to listen to the podcast. See you next week.